Today, we're going to look at something a little bit different. We're not talking about how to explain a topic, but how to build a video that, on purpose, doesn't explain it at all. Yeah, it's a fascinating paradox, so let's just dive right in. It's a weird question, right? I mean, we always assume that explainers are supposed to simplify things, to summarize, to give you the big takeaway. But what if the most valuable thing a video could do is just present information, completely unfiltered? To understand why on earth you'd want an unexplainer, we have to go here. This is a world where a single misinterpreted word, or one slightly simplified number, can trigger millions of dollars in losses and some really severe legal consequences. In an environment like this, just being clear isn't enough. You need absolute, verifiable fidelity. So how do you create content that carries zero, and I mean zero, interpretation risk? Well, you have to build what we're calling a zero-risk video, and here's what that actually means. Okay, let's break that down. The goal here is not to create a neat little summary. It's to create a perfect audio-visual clone of a written report. Every word, every number, and all in the exact same order. The video becomes a direct informational map of the original text, nothing more and absolutely nothing less.
And this is how these videos have to begin. It's not some friendly hello or a catchy hook. It's a stark, mandatory opening statement that basically acts as a disclaimer. It tells you, the viewer, right from the get-go, hey, what you're about to see is not an analysis. It is a direct reading of the source.
Now, to get to this level of fidelity, you can't just follow a few guidelines. You have to obey a set of totally unbreakable rules. Let's take a look at the most important ones. You know, what's so wild about this is that it basically forbids everything we normally associate with an explainer. The writer's own thoughts, completely irrelevant. Their job is to become invisible, to act as a pure channel for the original information, without adding any layer of their own understanding. This is the principle of traceability. And it means that for any sentence you hear in the video, you have to be able to point to the exact same sentence in the original document. This creates a perfect audit trail, which makes the video's content legally and factually bulletproof. So this all boils down to one critical idea: preserving the source material with almost religious devotion. You can't leave anything out, you can't reorder it, and you certainly can't paraphrase. For instance, you are absolutely not allowed to say stocks went down if the source document says the index ultimately closed at 66.32. You have to preserve every word, every number, exactly as it was written. Okay, so that's the theory. But what does this actually look like when you put it into practice? Let's move on and see how that original text gets translated to the screen. And this slide, it just brilliantly shows that traceability rule in action. On the left, you've got the original text from a research note. On the right, the script for the narrator. And look, they're identical. The script writer's job here isn't to write anything. It's just to copy and format. Right, so here's a typical sentence from a financial report. It's dense, it's filled with specific figures, lots of qualifying language. The temptation might be to simplify it, right? Maybe say something like, GDP growth was way lower than expected, but doing that would completely violate the rules. Every single number has to be preserved with perfect precision. It's not around 1%, it's 0.7%. And why? Well, because in finance, the difference between 0.7% and 1.5% isn't just some small detail. That is the entire story. If you alter that number even just a little, you change the meaning completely. And this applies not just to sentences, but to how data structures like lists and sequences are handled. You have to deconstruct them while keeping their original form totally intact. So, for example, the source document listed these military developments in this specific order. This isn't just some random list, it's a logical progression. The video has to present them in the exact same sequence to preserve the author's intended logic and the hierarchy of ideas. The very same principle goes for bulleted lists. You can't just summarize this and say, some market sectors showed movement. Nope. You have to state that the energy sector is showing a bearish divergence, that Ulta gapped down 14%, that Nike broke below its $55 support, that PayPal has risen 30% since its IPO, and that Klarna is consolidating at low levels. Every single one of these data points is treated as essential, non-negotiable information. So after all these super rigid rules, we get to the big question: why go to all this trouble? And the answer is actually pretty simple. It's about fidelity over flair.
In this context, the value of the video isn't its clever editing or some charismatic narration. No, the value is its perfection as a mirror. For the institutional client, this unwavering fidelity is what creates trust. They know they're getting the source, the whole source, and nothing but the source.
And this is the ultimate reason why. This quote from a standard risk disclosure, it's like the DNA of the entire process. By creating a non-interpretive video, the firm ensures it is only providing information, not advice. It's a powerful shield against legal risk, against regulatory scrutiny, and against client disputes.
So, we end up right back where we started. In our modern world, which is just flooded with opinions, summaries, and hot takes, it's really worth asking, what do we lose and what do we gain? The Unexplainer shows us that sometimes the most powerful and responsible way to communicate is to just step aside and let the data speak for itself.